So this is the webinar from Goodheart-Willcox on the fitness and wellness skills. And this is going to be some engaging resources for teachers. And I'm William Bodie, I'm the author. I also work for GW now that I've retired from the North Carolina public school system. I spent 30 years working for Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. And this particular product is 30 years of my career. Everything that I needed, I used, I wanted, I created. And I had the fortunate opportunity to be able to partner with GW to create this resource. A little caveat before we get started. This resource may not be for everybody. This resource is designed for the teacher that wants a little bit more for their students, a little bit more for themselves, that's different than your traditional physical education program. I taught different kids. I taught big classes, little classes, top, high socioeconomic scale, low socioeconomic scale. So I taught a lot of different students over my 30 years to really help craft this. And so at the core of this, it's all about having a really good learning experience for our kids. So with that said, let's dive in. There we go. So quick overview. This is a comprehensive toolkit. It has everything that you're going to need, from lesson plans to activities to assessments. It's also going to hit our core pillars of learning. And this is where it's a little bit different. We have fitness to development. Most programs do. It also has academic support. I really prided myself on having the same academic rigor as our science teacher, as our math teacher, as our language arts teacher. But then I also added some cooperative learning that I'll go a little bit more in depth to, as well as lifetime physical activities. It's a holistic wellness program that helps the students not only develop physically, but also academically, socially, emotionally, and as we'll see here in a few minutes, personally. A lot of personal growth. Love watching high school kids mature right there in front of your eyes and know that you had something to do with it. And then, of course, we're going to align these to the standards. We align them to state standards, but our national version, as is aligned to the national SHAPE physical education standards. So what are the focus areas for student development? So right off the bat, we start off with cooperative learning, and it's in Module 1. There's 45 cooperative and fitness activities. It engages all students and abilities. At the end of each activity, there's an add a challenge, so you can scaffold to make it more challenging, or there's a variation that may make it a little bit easier based on for your kids, for your facilities, for the amount of equipment you have. And what I like about Module 1 is it develops the necessary classroom management skills for not only the teacher focus, but also the students. And so that's to me, that was a unique, when I created this, very unique, because I was able to get my kids who were a little skittish about physical education up to speed. The kids that were still really, 100% in with physical education, it gave them that nice challenge. And so we blended them in together so they learn that they both bring value to physical education class. Second part is our fitness focus. There are student lessons that have PowerPoint presentations that helps the teacher and the students with those key topics that not only teaches the academics, but it also helps the academics and the activity merge together and have some unison. And so modules 2 through 6 is all about developing that fitness competency. And then module 7, we're going to work with technology and fitness. And then module 8 is fitness for a lifetime. And you're going to kind of see as I talk about more and we show it how these all work together. Also, with our focus on fitness, we have exercise demonstration videos. Can't tell you how many videos I would have to proof in order to find the right video that had a person fully dressed, that had the correct form. They gave me everything that I need. And so when they asked me to do this, I said, I've got to have exercise demonstration videos to help teachers out. There are 90 of them. And as you can see, here's an example of one. I'll hit play. This is actually one of my former students, Spencer, and it's on a loop. And you also see that there's a video description. Think of those as the learning cues for that particular exercise. Again, there's 90 of them. Also, that correlates with our demonstration videos are the exercise task cards. So now once students have had the opportunity to view the videos, now it's their turn to perform. And with the exercise task cards, they are printable. There are 14 sets of them, which, so if we think of 14 sets, think of the health-related, skill-related fitness components, dynamic exercises, functional exercises, aerobic, anaerobic. All of these are in a PowerPoint form, so they are printable. And as you can see, there's a step-by-step image as well as directions. So again, it's meeting different types of learning styles. But then I also added a little fitness level for those that really like to challenge themselves or keep up with their own progress. Because it's not about competing with someone else. It's about competing with yourself. And that's what I would always teach my kids. It's always good to have goals, right? And come on, there we go. So we also have lifetime activities. And I tried to choose some lifetime activities that were a little different. I think by high school, they have done a lot of activities that are your mainstream activities, basketball, volleyball, even tennis, which I used to love to teach. But so I added pickleball, dance, tumbling, self-defense, and aquatics. They all have lesson plans, and they all have assessment rubrics. And as I get in, I'll show you a little bit more when we take a look inside the platform. So speaking of taking a look at the platform, let's go ahead and do that. So once you click into our platform, there's several ways. Once you purchase, you either get a code or we do upload to Canvas and Schoology. But if you were a Google Classroom user, you get that code and you would be able to sign in to your bookshelf. And this is what you would see. So I'm just going to start at the top and I'm just going to work my way through a couple of these bullets. And the first, as you can see, is the lifetime activities. In the lifetime activities, as I explained to you before, aquatics, gymnastics, rhythm and dance, combative self-defense, and pickleball. And as you can see, there are lessons for each, as well as the skills assessments, which are the rubrics. And I did this with the intention of, again, giving people some lifetime abilities. You don't have to have a lot of equipment. That's one of the things. One school I had a ton of equipment. The other school I didn't have much at all. And so I really tried to make sure that you didn't need a whole lot of equipment if you didn't need it. Obviously, pickleball, you can need a racket and a ball. And the one that I think I'm most proud of is the self-defense. My kids just love that as we would teach it each year. And the dance. The dance is one of those, I'm one of those two left feet folks, but I tried to break this down to where even a student who may not be comfortable with dance would be able to be successful. And so those are our activities for lifetime activities. And you see all of these these are all docx files, but we also, so you don't have to upload them all in one shot. We do have an instructor's zip file, puts them all in that can easily go right into your Google Drive or to your hard drive. And I'll go into more of these in just a minute. But we're going to keep going because I want to go to course planning. Um, this is just to help teachers get a little bit more in their tool belt. This is kind of in my brain. How would I introduce the fitness and wellness to kids? Uh, Here's pacing guides. I even wrote a little blurb about grading practices. There are plenty of opportunities to evaluate student learning that's not dressing out and is not participation based. Um, if you look at most of the standards, those aren't met. And I do know teachers really struggle with those too. So I've created a document to help them in that journey. There's a materials list as well. I love doing self-selected activities with my kids, giving them the autonomy to be able to choose and self-express how they move. Really cool. And then our teacher-directed activities for the health-related fitness assessment. Always want to keep them understanding where they are as far as their fitness journey. And so we don't take it just at the beginning and the end that, oh my goodness, we're taking FitnessGram again. It's one of those has a purpose, and we would do it every 4 to 5 weeks in order for students to see their progress. And then there's the handout there for the monitoring sheet. And so kids really appreciate that hands-on autonomy that they get in order to show their own fitness levels. So as we continue to move on, I do want to show you what a module looks like. Once you see one module, you will see another. They're all formatted the same. So I'm going to start with module 2, a little bit more fitness based. And there's a couple of things that I want to draw your eyes to. One is the view lesson materials 4. We can toggle between the instructor and the student. So obviously we're already on the instructor. So what does that have? It has a lesson plan. It has a PowerPoint. It has answer keys. We got to love answer keys, right? And so I do want to show you what a lesson plan looks like. So as I open up a lesson plan is for the whole module. So as you can see, there's 4 here. We all know with physical education, one lesson can go the span of several days because learning it's not scheduled, right? We know that maybe it takes a day or two for your students to really get this point, or maybe even longer. So the lesson plans are created to give you, the teacher, the autonomy. You know what? I want to spend a little bit more time here. And in module 1, these 4 lessons I used to do over a 2-week period. That's how important I thought it was to make sure that kids had the skills they needed to be successful in my class. And so as we kind of scroll through, there's the materials list. Everything that you're going to need for this lesson is here. And then we have our activities. So with lesson 1 on physical literacy, we've got our essential question. You got to post that. I've got it there for you. Wellness reflections to create academic conversations with your class. You can either put them online, you can have it as a partner turn and talk, or you can have it as your kind of your opening conversation with your kids to get them started. And then of course we're going to have learning outcomes. There's the shape GLOs for the standards. Key terms, I'll talk about this a little bit more as we move on, but I love vocabulary. I think it's so important for kids to speak their education as well as show their education. And then we get into bell ringers. I use the same language that our language arts teacher, math teacher. I want to make sure that my kids know that this is physical education, and that is represented in our lesson plan. They're the teacher-directed activities. That's what's getting the kids up and moving. The reading and language acquisition are those student lessons, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and then we close. And so there's a lot of activities built into this particular lesson. So that's our lessons, or one lesson plan. I told you there's 3 more in there. I'm going to click over to student so you can see what the student is. And there's handouts. So as you can see, there's 6 handouts for just the one lesson. And again, it's designed so when you teach cardiorespiratory endurance, maybe that's one class period. You would have a handout for that I would use as an exit ticket, or at some point where I can get the kids to tell me back what they've learned. And it's only one or two questions. It's not a lot. So you can upload it to your LMS or Google Classroom, or you can have them fill out an index card. And so, again, a lot of handouts. We do have electronic activities. So these e-flashcards, they can click it to flip it, and they can do some self-assessment on their own. So if you have any days where they're missing because of weather, or there's a teacher work day where it's an asynchronous day for them to work, this is something that they could do. And as you can see, there's a couple of more there that they could practice. So as you can see, that's the instructor, the student. Now I want to get you focused on what's on the left side of this, and it's the module assessments is right off the bat, the top. I want to show you that. So we have a pre-test, we have a post-test. We have vocabulary activities to really reinforce those key terms that you're going to be using. Some of them are handout based, where they can fill it out either digitally or you can print it out. And then just like this vocabulary relay, it's going to be movement. And then there's a reflection. Love the reflection because it allows kids that may not do as well explaining their learning. It just gives them an avenue to be able to at least tell you, and it's about writing, right? Sometimes I know my admin would say, oh, you need to add a writing component. There is the writing component if you need it. Here are the student lessons, and this reads just like a book. And so as you can see, it's module 2. There are the lessons. And there's that EQ we talked about earlier, the learning outcomes, again, the key terms. And now we have the content. I've used this for students who weren't unable to participate that day. I'm so sorry that you're not feeling well. Here's how you can replace the physical activity with some academic activity for you during class. And it's amazing how many kids get healed when you show that there's an alternate activity. And as you can see, it's chunked, easy for kids to read, a wellness reflection for them to kind of think about their own fitness journey. And then we get to the end. Oh, we have some infographics. Forgot about that. My fault. Then we get to the end, and there's some review questions that they can go over and make sure that they're ready when you're ready to assess the academic knowledge. As I mentioned before, with the file, so remember, docx files just means you're able to upload and edit these materials. We have zip files for you. And as I keep going down, I have warm-ups and cool-downs, and I do want to click on that for you. The introduction, I understand that you have different facilities, class sizes, equipment availability, and so I try to give a little bit of everything as far as what has worked for me throughout my career. And sometimes, depending on the class period, might depend on which warm-up you use. I know first period for me, it was always about, I got to get these kids moving. I got to wake them up. And so maybe I'm doing a dynamic warm-up. Maybe I've got some folks that they're really chatty. And so I'm going to walk and jog so they can get some of that energy out, but then they can also have a little bit of social time, as well as the team building activities that, again, gives them a chance to talk, but now their talk is focused on the activity. And cool downs the same way. All right, keep moving. I do want to show you the exercise demonstration video clip library. It's in alphabetical order, and I told you there were 90, and there's that big list that all you've got to do is click on it, show your kids that. And so this is Talia doing 6-inch jacks. If I want to view the description, I just click on it, and there it is. And it's on a loop. And so it just keeps going and going. If your district purchases student licenses, they would have access to all of these videos. All right. And then we're going to move down to the task card library. And I'm going to show you all of these. And as you can see, there's the 14. And then I do want to click on one for you. That's the PowerPoint presentation built. All right, here we go. Here is our muscular endurance. And you can see Tyler here. We've got our progressions, pictures, our directions, as well as our fitness level. And here is Anna doing planks and flutter kicks. And as you can see, some are very easy, right? We want to, when we talk about modifying, some kids may not be able to do certain exercises to work a muscle group. Within each set, you'll find some that are very challenging, some that are very easy to do. And just keep clicking through these just so you can kind of see the breadth of each one. Okay, so like you can see, if I'm working on abs, recline punches is pretty easy. Well, if I want a difficult one, there's the full body crunches. It's going to give you a really good workout. All right. Since I'm here, I do want to show you, if we're talking about the student lessons, maybe there's other ways that we want to present the academic content to our kids. The presentations would be it. They can be easily downloaded to LMS or Google Classroom. And again, it's going to be the same as our content that reads like a book, except now it's just going to be condensed, and just kind of show you through some of these. And it creates like I said at the beginning, a very holistic learning experience for students. They may not be used to it at first, but once they do get used to it, they come to appreciate it. And then finally, we do have the cooperative games, and I want to show you the list. It's a pretty extensive list. There's 45 activities. Some are team building games. Some are fitness activities. Some are actually like speedball. We scaffold speedball here. Think of team handball, because that is the very last one. But these are all the introductory activities to team handball. So we can start them to be successful and work all our way up to that. All right. I think I'm ready to go back to, I am ready to go back to the presentation. And let's finish up. And this is just a quick recap of everything that's there. So I'm going to keep going. And what are the benefits? From a teacher standpoint, you have lesson plans. You have PowerPoint presentations. You have editable docx files if you want to make any changes. You got zip folders and everything. So student engagement, we've got student lessons. So we're hitting all different types of academic learning styles, digital activities, exit ticket handouts. And then we also have a guide to self-selected activities, which really helps students have some autonomy in how they move based on the equipment that you have available. The skill development, we've got workout tracking handouts. So all the workouts that your students would be doing, we have handouts that allows them to keep up with their progress, which is the fitness goals tracker, which is what I showed you in the course planning. So our overall fitness, how are we doing in our muscular endurance? Is our muscular strength improving? And then I love the fact that we're developing life skills through cooperative activities. We all know that athletes benefit a lot from team sports and individual sports. Try to create that same environment within physical education. And so they can learn about communication, teamwork, growth mindset. They can be safe, and they can learn how to solve problems on their own, which I think is definitely an important skill in this digital age. The autonomy I spoke before, once you get through the fourth module, we get into 5 and 6. Kids really now know their exercises. So they have their own library of exercises based on the task cards. Now they get to choose how they are going to increase their flexibility, their power, their speed. Then they've learned the different workout plans between an AMRAP or a Tabata or an EMOM type workout. Now they're creating their own workouts based on the exercises, and then they can warm up and cool down as they choose. As a teacher, now you get to truly become a facilitator, which is very empowering. So, how do we finish this up? There are 3 ways that you can get more information. If you'd like to request our Explorer instructor sample, which is the platform that I just showed you, and they'll give you one module that you can kind of go all the way through. Here is the URL for that. Also, we have educational consultants all over the country in different regions, and so you can connect with them. Or if you would like to schedule a district presentation where I would be the one talking to a review committee, if you felt like you needed it for a larger scale, here is the URL for that. And so I hope that you see that this is a unique experience for kids, because that's what it's built for. It's not built for your run-of-the-mill PE teacher. It is built for someone who really wants something a little different for their students.